Dear students, in this lecture we will discuss about Agile tools for tracking project. In the previous class I have discussed about earned value analysis. Now we will discuss about Agile tools for tracking a project. So, the agenda for this lecture is Agile tools for tracking project progress. Then talk about three tools we will discuss about in this class. One is the task board, then Burnup and Burndown chart. After that, I will explain one tutorial on MS project. There we will discuss about some features of Microsoft project software. So, Agile tools for tracking project progress. Our discussion in earlier lectures highlighted a variety of ways the Agile approach to project management differs from more traditional approaches. We studied about many differences between traditional project management and Agile project management. So, for tracking the project also, the way the tools which we are using for traditional project is different, the tools which we use for Agile project management is different. So, given this, it should come as a no surprise that the Agile has unique practices, methodologies and conventions for monitoring projects. In the traditional waterfall approach, when your project is evaluated to be 90% complete, this typically means that there is a 90% of progress towards completing the project, but likely 0% is completed and operational. But in the Agile project management context, it means that 90% of the highest requirement features are completed and operational. So, in the traditional project, when we say 90% completion, so 90% of the task is completed. But here in the Agile project management, when I say 90%, so 90% of the highest requirements features are completed. Actually, the concept of earned value is not particularly applicable in Agile project. The reason is that for traditional project, scope is already fixed. We can see how much percentage we have achieved the scope, but in Agile project, scope is keep on changing. So, the techniques which we have learned in the previous lecture about earned value analysis is not applicable for Agile projects, because the earned value is based on the assumption that the project scope is fixed, but in Agile explicitly embraces changes to project scope as more is learned throughout the project. So, the way we look at the scope is the very important unique characteristics of Agile project, that says that in Agile project management earned value analysis is not possible. Now, we will discuss about the first tool for tracking Agile project. One is a task board. As was discussed, the product backlog and sprint backlog are key Scrum artifacts that contain the complete list of requirements for the product being developed or improved and the requirement to be completed in the current sprint respectively. Throughout the project, as sprints are completed, the team updates its average velocity, which in turn can be used to assess the progress to date and to estimate the amount of time required to complete the remaining product backlog items. So, in Agile project management, we learn something called velocity of completing the sprint. So, based on that velocity, we can say how much time it is going to take the remaining backlog items. Furthermore, the sprint backlog is updated daily and available to all team members, providing the team with the real time information on the status of the sprint. Now, I will show you a sample task board. As shown in the figure, task boards are divided into several columns to track the progress of the task to be completed during the sprint. So, we have different columns there. First one is the list of backlogs, like what are the things has to be completed, then user story, user's requirement, then to do, after that what we are doing, then finally reviewing, then at the end we talk about what is completed. So, as shown in the figure, The task board are divided into several columns to track the progress of the task to be completed during the sprint. The second column in the figure identify the user stories here, this one, user stories being addressed in the current sprint. The user stories are broken down into more detailed requirement to create specific tasks which are often written on sticky notes like what we had done, this one, to do. The status of the task is tracked by placing the task in the appropriate column from to do, this one, and in progress, that is doing. Then the last one is done. Then we stick the task with the help of sticky notes where which category this comes, whether the task comes under to do category, that is yet to do, or the task comes under doing, that is the task is in progress, or the task is completed. Also observe how swim lanes, that is horizontal lines, are used to facilitate the tracking of the task by user stories. It is important to point out that only the product owner has the authority to move the task to the done column, because the product owner know whether his expectation is fulfilled or not. Then only he will change that the sticky note from doing, that is work in progress, to the done column. The task board should be displayed in a prominent location so that it is easily viewed by all team members. As a visual tool, the task board provides team members with up-to-date information on the status of the sprint. I have brought the another version of the task board. It is simply a little simple version. A glance at the task board shown in the figure reveals that the first user story is complete. You see this? Here the first user story is completed. The progress has been made on the second and the third. Here, progress has been made on the second and third user stories, and the fourth user story has not yet been started. This one, it is not yet started. So, the benefit of this task board is it is easy to visualize the status of the task. Finally, in keeping with the lean principle, it is strongly recommended that task board be kept simple, perhaps using little more than a whiteboard or wall and sticky notes. The next tool is Burnup and Burndown chart. This Burnup and Burndown charts are additional agile tools that facilitate monitoring and controlling overall project progress. Like other agile tools, their popularity stems in part from their ease of interpretation due to their visual nature. First, we will discuss about Burndown chart. Burndown chart. As shown in figure, a Burndown chart is created with the remaining work for the sprint on the vertical axis, this one. Here we discuss about the remaining work to be done, and the time on the horizontal axis, the time in the horizontal axis. The remaining work that needs to be completed can be expressed in time units such as hours or user story points. So, the way we calculating remaining works to be done, there are two ways. We can say how much time is remaining or how much user point has to be completed. So, what is happening? See, initially assume that there are 100 user point. So, when time elapses, 100 become 90, 80 and so on. The remaining work to finish the sprint or the project at various points in the time is plotted on the chart as shown in the solid line in the figure, which creates a downward slope line. See, this is the solid line, the thick line is a solid line which has the downward slope, because when the time elapses, the work to be done is decreasing. So, the plotted line slope corresponds to the progress rate, with a steeper line being associated with the greater rate of progress. For example, you see this portion versus this portion. So, this portion is slow, the slope is low, so the progress is slow, but here the slope is very high, that means the progress rate is high. So, based on the estimates of the line's future slope, the project completion time can be estimated. Also, as shown by the dashed line in figure, this one, the dashed line, the planned progress can be included in the chart. So, the dashed line says the planned progress. For example, here it has to be, for example, this point, this has to be finished here, but what has happened, we have taken more time, there is a delay. So, it is behind the schedule. So, if the thick line goes outside the dashed line, so that means we are behind the schedule. If the thick line goes inside towards the origin of this graph, it says that we are ahead of the schedule. So, when the actual progress, for example, solid line is above the planned progress dashed line, the sprint is behind the schedule. Likewise, when the actual progress is below the planned progress, the sprint is ahead of the schedule. It is very easily interpret whether we are going ahead of the schedule or behind the schedule. Now, we will discuss about the burn-up charts. While a burn-up chart contains the same axis as the burn-down chart, two different lines are plotted. The first set of data plotted is the work completed to date, and the second set of data is the total amount of work including scope changes and yet to be completed. So, the blue line says yet to be completed works, maroon color line says about work completed. You see here there are 100 point is there, we are slowly increasing to reach that, but you see because of scope changes, the work, because of rework, the point it has jumped from 100 to 120. Both burn up and burn down charts provide the project manager with a straightforward approach for monitoring and communicating overall project progress. The choice of one chart versus the other chart is matter of personal preference. So far I have discussed about Agile tools. Now, I will give you a demo on MS projects. First, I will discuss about how to create a new project. Then I will discuss how to do a Gantt chart, there how to find out the critical path, there how to find out various tables and so on. So, now we will go to MS project environment, there with the help of a sample problem I will explain various features of MS project software. Dear students, I have brought the problem. So, I have entered the task A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I have entered the predecessors and I have entered the duration. And you see that before the task I have given a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, because in the MS project when you specify the predecessors, you cannot give the alphabets, you have to provide the serial number of the task. So, for example, 1, 2, it represents activity A and B is predecessor for activity C. Okay. Similarly, for activity D, C is a predecessor. So, instead of C, I am writing 3. So, activity E, what are the predecessors? A, B, C. So, that A, B, C, I am representing 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, now I have opened a MS project. So, I have gone for blank project. So, as soon as you open, there are two set of displays coming. One on the left hand side, it is the entry view, and the right hand side you will get the Gantt chart view. So, what I am going to do, first you have to go to file, then you go to options. There you can set lot of features globally for all projects. So, see date format, for example, here you can change it. For example, suppose I can give this one 28 January 2009. Then you can go to display. So, display currency, for example, US dollar is there. If you want, you can go to Indian currency. Then go to schedule. Here schedule, you see the work starts on, we keep on Monday, the work starting on Monday. The fiscal year starts on April, Indian context. So, the default starting time is 8 AM, default end time is 5 PM, hours per day is 8, hours per week is 40 hours and days per month is 20. This you can increase it. Then the scheduling, no problem, it is a manually scheduling, we can change it to auto scheduling also. I will explain how to do the auto scheduling. Then the duration and duration is entered by default, it is days. You can enter as a minutes, hours, weeks, months, but default is days. It is only for our illustration purpose. Then I press OK. Once you go for project information, the next one is in the project tab, there is a change working time. So here what you can do, you can say that what are the days or holidays, or you can define or your own calendar also. So now what is happening here? So I have specified my working day is Monday to Friday. So Saturday, Sunday is holiday. Suppose if I want to a particular day, for example, this is January 26. In India it is Republic Day, it is a holiday. So you can, here you can write holiday. Here you can specify that holiday is one day, or say if it is some other long holiday, say Christmas holiday, you can put 1 week. So here you can change it, but at present it is only one day. When you press OK, you see that that day January 26 is the holiday. So this is the way project change working time you can specify, and you see that there are different calendars there. 24 hours calendar is there, night shift is there, standard project calendar is there, and you see that right hand side you can create a new calendar also. So when you go for a new calendar, for example, you are having a supplier, that supplier is from some other country, that country assume that the Friday is a holiday. So you can customize that. So then you can give the name of that calendar also, for example, supplier calendar. So this will be useful when you allocate resources, but at present we are not going to that. So I am cancelling this, then I press OK. So here you see that there is this diagonal. When you click it, this is a very important shortcut, you can select all the cells. So the I is the different things will be indicative there, it will be informed there. First we will see task mode. Okay. So first we will write, that is whether the task mode is whether we are doing scheduling manually or scheduling automatically. So first I am going to enter the task name. I go to my, because already I have data. So these are my task. I copied, then I have pasted. The next one I have project duration. I copied this, then I go into project. So duration by default days, it is I have copied. And the next one is the predecessors. So copy this. So you can drag this cell to right hand side. It is similar to Excel. So you can paste it. I have entered the predecessors. Now one more thing, you see that this is manually scheduled. So what you have to do, you have to select quick shortcut, you select this diagonal box, then go to task, you select auto schedule. You see that when you auto schedule it, you see it is January 1st it is starting and it is finishing on 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, it is finishing on January 19. That is one more thing. Now other things, if you want to enter a new cell, so click here, you right click, so insert a task. So this I am giving, say the project name is construction, house, suppose I given house construction. So this you can go task, you can go to auto schedule. So what is happening here, under the house there are many activities, many tasks there. So what I can do, I can select all these cells, then you go to, you see that there is an intent task. When you enter this, you see that under the house there are many tasks there. Not only that, you see that for completing all the tasks it is going to take 15 days. So the completing this project excluding Saturday, Sunday, it will take 15 days. So it will start on January 1st and will finish on January 19. That is the one useful of this indentation. And so far we have seen Gantt chart. Suppose if you want to know the typical milestone of the project. So, for that say you can write one project, say finish, it is going to take only 0 days, okay, and I have to mention 9 is the predecessors, okay. You see that there is a diagonal is there. So, the diagonal represents it is a milestone of the project. So, project milestone will not consume any resources, it is only for indication whether we completed the task or not. Similarly, you can go for start also, you can click here, insert a task, you call it as start, it will take only 0 days, and this everything has to be auto scheduled. And you see that there is a diagonal symbol is there that says the starting point, and when you this is start, you see that there is a diamond symbol is there, that diamond symbol says it is the starting point. Another thing, when you enter the new cell, see your precedence relationship is not affected, it has gone one cell below that, you need not worry about that. So, we have constructed the Gantt chart. And other thing, that in the question it was asked how to find out the critical path. So, for that what you have to do, you go to double click this Gantt chart format, you check this box critical task. Now, the red lines, okay, this shows the critical activities. And one more thing, when you drag on the right hand side, you can add a new cell also. In the new cell, there are two things. For example, I want to know what are the critical activities. So, CRCI, you see that I have seen what are the critical activities. So, activity A is critical activity, B is critical activity, C is a critical activity. We can see the critical activities also. And not only that, when you go here, there are many other options there. Instead of critical activity, suppose I want to know, predecessors. So, click predecessors, successors. Now, I have given, we know the predecessors of each activity also, then we know what are the successors of each activity also. Like that, there are many options you can customize this table. And other things, suppose I want to know the earliest starting time, earliest finishing time. So, what we can do, you can go to view. So, there is a table option is there. So, when you click on schedule, so it shows that for each activity, what is the starting time, finishing time, what is the latest starting time, latest finishing time, and what is the slack, and in that what is the free slack, all the informations are provided. And other important shortcut is, when you right click in this first column, you see there is an option called view bar. When you click it, all the options is appearing in the form of picture, in the form of icon. It will be a very useful tool to see various tables. Okay. If you do not want to this, right click, you minimize this view bar. So, what we have done, we have found the critical path. Suppose if you want to know more, we find what are the critical activities and so on. Suppose if you want to know the project completion time. So, you go to project informations, you select on statistics, you see that it provides starting date and finishing date. So, the MS project, it has combined both our MS Excel and the project management tools. So, it is very useful and easy to follow the software for the managing a large project. The first task is embarking a new project. So, what we have to do, you go to file and select new. So, this will open a screen for blank project, you click OK. You see that I have done that, you see here file, then there will be option for a new project. You can now enter your project information, that is start date, you see here I have given start date, finish date, and how would you like to schedule the project from either start or finish date. You can also choose a selection if you will be using the night shift. So, here what you have to do, so first you have to go to project then you have to go to project information. There you can enter all the details. Not only that, when you go for project information, when you click the option of statistics, so that will give you the project starting date and project finishing date, because already I have completed the project. So, from that project, obvious answer is when the project has to be started, when the project should be finished, project completion time. So, project starting time is given, project completion time is given. Now, I will explain how to do a Gantt chart. Already in the previous lecture I have discussed, there I have given a very brief introduction. Now, we will go in detail about constructing the Gantt chart. So, task duration in days and precedence are listed in the following table. So, the task is given A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, the predecessors are given and the duration of the activity is also given. So, we are going to answer 3 questions. First, construct a Gantt chart using Microsoft project. Assuming the default 5-day work week, calculate the critical path of the project, then calculate the project duration. So, what I have done, select Gantt chart view from the view menu. You will have a spreadsheet where you can now enter information about all the activities like task name, duration, start date, end date, predecessors and various other fields. You can enter the required information in 2 ways. One is in a spreadsheet, or when you double click on the cell, you will get a window in which you can enter all the information of the particular activity. For predecessors activity, you need to write the activity number, that is more important. You should not use a text, you should use a number. So, the software itself will calculate the start and end date. Now, the Gantt chart is complete. So, I have brought the Gantt chart here, the screenshot of the Gantt chart. After that, the question is to find the critical path. So, when you go the Gantt chart format, there is an option, see here, there is an option to check that box, show the critical path. There you can see, once you check that box, you can see that the critical paths are highlighted in the red color. Then the next question is asked is the project duration. So, when you go to project information, there when you click on statistics, then you will get the full information, starting date, finishing date. So, that is the project duration. So, in this lecture, I have discussed about Agile tools for tracking project progress. There I talked about 3 tools, task board, Burnup chart and Burndown chart. Finally, I have explained some features of MS project. 2 things I have done here. One is how to open a new project, how to fix the date for the calendar. Then I have taken a sample problem for constructing the Gantt chart. There I have found out what is the critical path, then what is the total project completion time. Thank you.